What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my transfer plan for the upcoming Game Week 10. Now the reason that you guys probably clicked on this video might be because you saw the absolute disaster class of a potential bench boost this week. So don't worry, I'll be talking about that to start off the video. Then after a quick review of how Game Week 9 actually progressed, the overall points plus updated rank, I'll be taking you guys through my transfer plan and team selection for the upcoming Game Week 10. So luckily, even though it was a pretty bad Game Week 9, we do have 3 free transfers to potentially change the team around, and currently looking at using a minimum of 2 of them. So if you guys want to see how Game Week 9 went and how Game Week 10 is currently shaping up, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So let's go over this quite quickly, the quicker the better, as it was an absolute disaster of a game week. As you guys can see, 40 total points and a rank drop to 5 million. So the current rank is looking really bad, but that's not the worst of it. The worst about Game Week 9 was the fact that our bench scored so many points. I'm going to put a trigger warning here just in case you guys want to skip ahead. So let's bring up the bench, and as you guys can see, a massive 13 points from Rodon and an even bigger 23 points from Van der Ven. I don't even think I've had a player score as many as 23 points in my FPL history. So yes, that's true, I did not use the bench boost in Game Week 9, and obviously I do regret it. But let's just go over the thinking about why I didn't bench boost to maybe help us in the future make the right decision. But I still back the decision making of not bench boosting with the information we had pre-deadline. So once again, do apologize that I could not stream on Friday evening. I was at a work function and therefore I was still locking in my team at that function when news dropped that Struck was apparently out of the starting 11. So that's why you guys can see I managed to move Struck and Rodon, swap them around. As soon as that news dropped about Struck, I put him last on my bench, and that kind of cemented the fact that I wouldn't bench boost. So what that Struck early team or league team news basically did was it took an already nervous manager, with Gabriel being a doubt confirmed by Arteta in the press conference, and no training pictures of Gabriel in training on Friday. So when the Struck news did drop, it was almost a guarantee that I wasn't going to bench boost, and that's basically what happened. Now there is one part that I want to talk about, a decision that I feel like I made incorrectly, and that was going to be actually benching Rodon instead of Michael Keane. If you guys don't know, I did Tarkowski to Keane for the fund upgrade. Now with all the drama of the bench boost and changing subs around, I didn't look to analyze and see that Leeds actually had a better chance of a clean sheet than Everton did. And with Michael Keane not carrying the kind of DEFCON threat that Tarkowski did, I should have benched him for Rodon. Now as you guys know, both actually lost their clean sheet, so it wouldn't have mattered at the end of the day, but the fact that Rodon scored that goal, as well as the DEFCON points, I should have been at least 12 points better off that decision. So 100% that was an incorrect decision on my part. Maybe if I was streaming and we didn't have the intensity of those final minutes with the Struck news, I could have made that correct decision. So where matters got even worse was Van der Ven scoring 2 goals from set pieces, getting the clean sheet plus the DEFCON threat. As mentioned, I don't think I've ever owned a player that's got 23 points in a game week. So I don't really know what happened with Spurs. Without Romero, they seem to have turned into a pretty good defensive team, even after their European game in the midweek. Having owned Dayvy, I kind of thought that Everton's attack would be a little bit better than it was, but I do think they were lucky to keep the clean sheet after Everton's striker couldn't finish any of the Dayvy chances. So it really was a massively freak game week. It's rare for your centre backs to actually score a goal. Just imagine 3 centre back goals in one game week. Now I've kind of gone through the situations in my head. Maybe it would have been better for me just to lock in the bench boost and not have checked Twitter at all before the deadline. But the fact is, you always want to get as much information as possible, and the Struck rumours were correct. So with hindsight, obviously I should have activated the bench boost, but at least there was some logic to the decision making. Just a really bad outcome, and obviously I do apologize for that. I do hope that maybe some of you guys didn't check the team sheet news and activated the bench boost and then left it. As if I did, I would have been around 2.5 million in terms of rank, and that would have probably saved the season. All I can hope for is that at least this is offering you guys some joy or happiness to see this bench, or some comfort if you guys did the same. Don't roast me too much in the comments down below, I promise I am a nice guy. All we can do now is hope that the next game week is going to be better, and when we do bench boost, it gets us a few points. Let's go over the rest of our starting 11, and it's going to be rare between the sticks. At least our goalkeeper was the right decision, getting a clean sheet. As always though with Arsenal, he gets basically no saves. We already spoke about kind of Michael Keane, who brought him in for Tarkowski. Everton conceding 3 goals to Spurs wasn't on my bingo card. But as mentioned, I should have probably started Rodon over Keane because Leeds had a better clean sheet chance. Then Senesi racked up a yellow card plus no DEFCON. It's a little bit worrying how he's not getting the DEFCON threat, but he did rack up a clean sheet. Then finally Gabriel, going from being yellow flagged. I know we can't really believe what Arteta is saying. At least Gabriel managed to get 9 points though with those bonus points. Not too hard starting him over Rodon. Then in our midfield department, not that many returns. Bruno Fernandes got the DEFCON threat. Not what you want to see when kind of United are scoring 4 goals against Brighton. If you did the swap from Mbumo, that would have looked pretty decent. Then Semenyo also racked up 3 points with that extra clean sheet, no attacking threat. Is he regressing back to the normality and not really scoring that many points now? Then we also have Ndai. Do wish that he did more to kind of wipe out that Van de Ven clean sheet. But he had a massive amount of XA, the strikers just couldn't finish the chances. Then our transfer in also disappointing Enzo. At least Reinders did match Enzo in this kind of game week. Chelsea losing to Sunderland though was kind of a little bit of a massive shock. Then up front we do have our triple twos, starting off with our captain Erling Haaland. Quite surprisingly, Man City did lose to Aston Villa, but basically everyone captains Erling Haaland, so not too disappointed. I do want to congrats if you guys did manage to captain someone differential. It's always a massive risk going against the effective ownership captain, so pretty happy that it probably worked out for you guys. Otherwise, João Pedro looking like a sell after that Sunderland game. He's hardly getting any shots at the moment, and that's not what you want to see from your striker. Same with Gyökeres, at least he got more minutes than Saka, I guess, but Saka does get the clean sheet point. Probably going to keep him though with those good fixtures. So pretty disastrous game week, probably a good week to have a bad week as we always say. However, if I did activate the bench boost, which I do regret, probably would have saved our season. Let me know how game week 9 went for you guys. I know Van de Ven's ownership is quite high anyways, so any points he scored is probably going to be pretty bad. So 23 points is pretty much the worst situation. Let me know how your overall rank is also looking like going into the upcoming game week 10. Let's see what I can do to fix this team. Now for all time's sake, I'm going to keep the bench exactly as it is. To be honest, I probably would bench these players anyways, with Dubravka against Arsenal, Rodon and Struijk against Brighton, and then finally Van de Ven against Chelsea at home. Now when you guys do see my backline, would you start any of these players over my defenders? I'm potentially looking like I'm going to do a defensive transfer anyways though. We've got Raya with Burnley. It's a very good fixture, and that includes Gabriel in our back 3. And then Michael Keane also has Sunderland away. Probably not as good of a fixture as we were anticipating at the start of the season. Sunderland currently looking red hot. At the moment starting Senesi, but probably would swap him out for Rodon or Van de Ven. Although I can see Bournemouth potentially keeping a clean sheet as Man City haven't been the greatest. Then our midfield department, Bruno Fernandes against Forest. New manager Sean Dyche might be a tight one. I do hope that Bruno Fernandes scores more points than Mbumo, as he is more expensive though. With Semenyo, Man City are definitely not invincible, and therefore I'm fine playing him in this fixture, and could play into the hands of Semenyo with his counter-attacking football against the Man City squad. In Ndai against Sunderland, let's see if he can do what kind of João Pedro couldn't and score against Sunderland. And then we've got Enzo against Spurs away. Are we going to see Van de Ven without a clean sheet? Then finally up front, going to captain Haaland against Bournemouth. I do feel like Man City at home are generally a better team, so pretty comfortable going for him as my captain, as there's not that many other options. I guess I could go for Gyökeres, but he's been so bad, don't want to risk the captaincy. Is a good fixture against Burnley away though. Then finally João Pedro against Spurs. However, he's probably on the way out. For a popular striker, I just want my striker to have some shots on target. So I'm not going to bench boost this week. Let's see if that comes back to bite me. Probably will, but overall I think the starting 11 does look okay. We do have 3 free transfers, and therefore what would you guys do if this was your own team? Quite a few popular moves going around, including Mbumo, Mateta and Munoz. Now there actually is a transfer plan that I could have done to bring in Mateta, Mbumo as well as Munoz, but I am 0.1 off affording it. So therefore, at the current moment, I might just look at the Mateta in for João Pedro, and this is actually a pretty template transfer. Basically, the reason for this is that João Pedro is getting hardly any shots on target. The fixtures do look so good though. Versus Mateta, whose fixtures are kind of worse, but getting a whole bunch more stats. He's up there with Erling Haaland in terms of kind of XG shots, that sort of thing, and therefore even with the tougher fixtures, I feel like he outperforms João Pedro. Mateta actually rose in price last night. If you guys did go there, I didn't. I want to just give myself as much time as possible to see if there's any injuries. There's a whole bunch of EFL Cup games coming up this midweek. So this transfer is penciled in. I do have 0.2 in the bank, so I can do a like-for-like switch here. As mentioned though, pretty popular move. I've seen a ton of people doing it. I then also spoke about potentially a defensive transfer to bench Senesi, and it's going to be fun to fin out. So just look at him smiling there after getting 23 points and knowing that I didn't bench boost. I just want to get him out of my team as soon as possible. And as you can see, Spurs fixtures are pretty bad for the medium term. So I'll be going for two options. My favorite would have been Anderson, but today the news dropped that he won't be playing in the EFL Cup game, so I kind of doubt that he'll be playing in Game Week 10. If he is back though, he's definitely my favorite option at 4.5 million, otherwise I also like Richards. So slight concern there with Crystal Palace's pretty stacked schedule at the current moment, but I feel like they're a pretty decent defensive squad. Anderson also offers that DEFCON threat, which we love to see, and I kind of like him at that 4.5 bracket versus other Crystal Palace defenders. Another option could actually be going for Fun Hacker though, swapping one fun for another fun, Dutchy for Dutchy, and that's because Brighton have Leeds at home in Game Week 10. So pretty much a great fixture in Game Week 10, but then I probably would go for Crystal Palace from then onwards, and that's how I might just go for Richards. But quite close between these two. I actually hope that Anderson recovers and he becomes available, because then it's actually a no-brainer. So these two transfers are kind of boring though, but I think patience might be key with the current team. I don't want to be too dramatic after that bench boost fail. If you guys can recommend any other transfers, I guess I could go for the Mateta Munoz as well as Mbumo move, and instead of kind of going for Van de Ven out, I could go for Senesi. The problem is I probably want Senesi in about 3 game weeks time, so it might not be worth that extra transfer. I just hope Bruno outperforms Mbumo in the short term. But let me know what you guys think about these transfers as well as my overall bench boost fail as well as my team for Game Week 10. I just want to move on as soon as possible though. You guys can let me have it in the comments down below, don't worry, I can take it. As mentioned, I just hope that it gave you guys some joy. Tons of content still to come up, but watch out for that midweek football and all those injuries potentially. Make sure the notifications are on for the future videos. But this is basically right for you guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you didn't subscribe if you have subscribed yet. Tons of content still to come up, but for the time being, I'll be signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.